Welcome to the Three Beards Podcast. My name is Craig, along with Brian Imbowden and Chris, and Mark is with us today. Mark Eddy is with us as well. So this is going to be kind of an action-packed little show here, everybody. First half hour, we're going to be kind of talking about stuff. Just stick with us. Dave Scott will be joining us hopefully around 8:30 our time. He's currently in transit from his work to his home up there in Canada, and so he will be on his way back to there as soon as he gets locked in. So we look forward to now. Since I said that, I either made this up in my head a long time ago and it's always just stuck with me, or that's an actual movie line from a show or something. So if somebody could please help me out. I've tried searching it up, I can't find it, but either way, it's always just stuck to me, just something that just sounded funny and I liked it. Just Canada, so I don't know where I heard it from. So if anybody can put it in the chat and do something like that and help me out with this one, because like I said, I've struggled to see where I remembered that from, or if I just made it up in this head. So Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, he's going to be joining us. We're going to be talking all sorts of crazy things, interests and stuff. Same way, just catching up with Mark, Brian, Chris. Tis the season of holidays. He is out with family doing some stuff, so he's got those events going on. So he's been out the last couple of weeks. So, but everybody, just sit back, have your questions ready. We're going to be talking a little bit of things like Christmas and stuff coming up here. So just sit back. We will see you on the other side right now. Welcome to the Three Beards Podcast. My name is Craig, along with Austin and Chris.
Passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century.
Let me out.
I'm afraid that is quite impossible. I need you. Then live to send the innocent to their death? Is this justice and honor in Massachusetts colony?
Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hey.
Chris, just if you're listening, the itching should be gone now. You had a series of those penicillin shots and everything to be working fine in a few days.
Hey, I did say we're the most, we're a viral podcast out there, and pretty much all of our followers should go get themselves tested.
And that's why you don't want to use rest restrooms. Okay.
Yes, I forgot to download that thing, so we gotta put
to get that on there.
Brian made something. It's pretty funny. He said I just thought about that. I just said it. I'm like, I knew I forgot to do something, and of course, because it's on my station
it right now and just upload it to the thing while you're waiting.
Yeah, that's why I said I could work on that, but it's like I said, it's rude to ignore everybody that's watching. So
it just takes
one. This is kind of a cross special. One, we're doing. It's a Christmas special at the same time. I'm wishing everybody a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Shitter's full.
Shitter's full. Shitter's clogged. Yeah.
That's a big tree, Clark. Where are you going to fit it? Bend over. I'll show you. Come on. There's so many lines from that movie that are just whether you like Chevy Chase or not, as much of an ass as he could be, with everybody else. I mean, he still had some funny movies.
Don't put none of that on my sled, Clark. They metal plate in my head? I'm gonna forget, Eddie.
Yeah, that was
We have a pool and a pond.
I think
Oh, yes.
pond would be good for you, Carl. Yeah.
Yeah, that's no. I mean, it's you can go through this. Say, so one. I mean, we were talking about kind of last week too. This happened over in Europe. It's a kind of a bucket list thing. I want to go over to that Krampus fest where they actually have the walk where everybody dresses up in their version of Krampus. It looks awesome.
I think there's one actually in the state of Florida. Believe it or
Yeah,
not.
it's one of those. It would have to be now, and you just have to hope that you get like the weather like we had this last week, where it was in the 60s. Because I couldn't imagine wearing that outfit with it being 85.
Oh, that'd be brutal.
Oh my God. You're going to have so many people dying of heat stroke halfway through that, it basically becomes an Iron Man competition of who can make it to the finish line.
Yeah, I literally did that during Halloween, not this year, last year, and it was like almost 90 degrees out. And I was like, what the hell was I thinking? What the hell's wrong with you, son?
Yeah, it's I'm saying I'm not seeing Facebook up. It should be. I reposted it again on my timeline. So it should be showing up.
Facebook
like
sucks.
If not, like I said, go to YouTube. Keep on there. Like I said, it helps grow that chat anyway too, and that chat seems to be really livening up. Last few weeks as well. So it's like welcome to everybody. Got a couple of new faces. Eddie is one of them. I don't know. Welcome to the show, M.A. Allen, of course, and then we. Calibos, from, I hope I'm saying that right, Calibos. Just like I said, welcome back to the show. Had a great conversation last time, and then just making sure I'm not forgetting about King. King's here. Lulu Bell.
Right.
I think I saw everybody. Think so. And then Ron and Harlan, you're in here as well. So welcome everybody. So once again, Merry Christmas. You guys doing anything special? Probably for me, the last 3 years, we've gone non-traditional. I mean, we have like random stuff. Like I said, we've like gone so far from what would be considered like traditional meals to where I think last year we had spaghetti for one of them. I mean, we don't even do like the traditional like spreads anymore.
But you did that 364 days out of the year with the
that is true. That
fancy
is true.
meals.
Yeah, I mean, the holidays it sucks because a lot of people have taken them for granted, and they're like, I don't want to deal with Uncle Fred again. He drinks too much, like whatever. Why can't he keep his pants on? No, there's always some craziness going on in someone's goddamn house. And you just lose there's a lot of people. I mean, growing up, I don't have nobody down here to go to. No one but Jesus. Like that, huh? I threw that in there.
If you want, I can get you some provocative Christmas songs for you to play there, Ron.
I'd
we
like
really liven it up.
Play around with your bum 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 bum.
Yes, there's a TikTok video where it's Jingle Bell song, and it ends up, it's pretty much pornographic, and the lady's like she hit the wrong song, so she's scrambling to turn it off. Yeah, that one's an awesome video too.
There's I think it's Kate, there's somebody who does, I think it was Cheech and Chong. You know how they do Feliz Navidad? Well, they changed Feliz Navidad to Police Towed My Car. Police.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have you heard the one?
Hark the Herald Angel.
No, it's
the new cock ring. That one.
No, it's
I'm gonna get
almost got my coffee out.
It's I Am Santa Claus. That sounds like Black Sabbath's Iron Man.
No, but that.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. I have that. I am Santa.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll tell you what. If you want a treat, watch South Park's Red Sled Down.
Oh yeah,
great episode. Red Sled Down. Trust me.
Yeah, Ron. I don't think that was the one that Mark was looking for there, Brian.
There wasn't. Okay.
No. No, it's that they've South Park has done some pretty much epic ones, and that's
Basic premise: the Iraqi shoot down
I've-
Santa. Okay.
Hey, welcome to Three Beards Podcast. You come here for a little bit of Christmas talk, and we end up talking about cock rings. I mean, how the hell does that happen?
You said Christmas songs. Dirty Christmas songs.
I deck the halls. I mean, but it's
It's beginning to look a lot like syphilis. All around your
the
nose.
beards were bearding. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I was pretty much, it's want to talk about that. I want to cover something that happened. It's like we're not very political, but I really want to get in this thing before Dave here because I want to get your guys' reaction. Okay, just without keeping it too vulgar, that senator staffer having sex in the Senate hearing room and shooting a video of it. And not only do they shoot a video, they post it. I go, and then turning around and claiming you're the victim. I don't understand this. I go, nobody. I go, this is the U.S. Capitol Senate hearing room. I mean, I get it when you got urges and stuff, but I'm like, you literally decided in the Senate room. And then I'm like, one of the first questions I had is not even was that really that part, how sad is it? That wasn't the shocking part to me. The shocking part was like, where the freaking security? You got nobody. You can just wander the Capitol and just drop your clothes in any room that you want to and just start getting it on. I'm like, I don't understand this.
I mean, like,
is that almost an insurrection?
I was going to say the same thing. Well, there was something in, but I don't know.
What about December 20th? Huh? Just like January 6th.
Well, no, I won't say that. Yeah, keep us without getting hammered. Yeah, it's I don't know. I just want to get your guys' opinions. Like what just regardless of, I don't care if it was, it's between consenting adult. I don't care. It's the fact that it was a Senate hearing room.
Okay, but there's a video out that shows you the difference between the Christmases between 45 and 46.
Oh yeah, the Hunger Games looking one.
And no, this is like, it's like the Freak Fest that's currently in office right now, and they show you all the things that have happened. And so
it's weird. It's a weird dancing video for Christmas. Yeah. It's like
it's like a crack Willy Wonka.
It's like the Nutcracker on LSD. I mean, it's really what happened. It was really what it was. I mean, it was just bizarre. I mean, it's just, I didn't even really care for Melania, Trump's Christmas one where everything was red. They're all red trees. I was just like, that was just a weird look.
So it's red because red is.
Yeah, I was like, it just wasn't my thing. I go, but this one was weird too. It's like the decorations, let people have weird tastes. I go, but it was just weird. It was like an on, there's one of those like runway, shows that just where all the outfits are just obscure and just over the top. And it was like, everybody's like doing these things and they were just running around dancing and doing these things. I'm like, it's just really weird. It was just weird.
I think that whole entire video, when they show all those little cuts and everybody dancing in the Freak Fest, you should cut to that scene where Will Ferrell goes, "Am I taking crazy pills? I think I'm taking crazy pills.
I invented the piano necktie." I have that. I have the shirt too. It's like, Derek Zoolander's school for kids who can't read so good. Yeah, it's just, I've got that. I've got that shirt. That's an excellent movie.
So
Crazy.
So was Dr. Jill's video done by a different Hollywood producer than the one that orchestrated the January 6th hearings?
Possibly.
It's great. It's just crazy. I don't even know what to say. It's just, I had this talk with you guys. I think I've asked you guys a couple times, and for people in the audience too. Have you guys just noticed how much stuff is happening so fast that there's times where you'd be like, I feel like this happened. It feels like it happened a year and a half ago, and it was 2 weeks ago
Yeah,
because so
there's
much
so
stuff
much
is
going on.
happening. And I think it's just because the 24-hour news cycle is becoming so
24 hours.
yeah, where it's just everything is like, it's not like one where it'd be the same thing, or it's like there's so many things happening that it's like the news feed just keeps getting populated by stuff. It's
And can I
crazy.
just throw something out there, because it really has been bothering me for a while. I know you got your PhD, right? Stop using the word doctor. I'm so sick and tired of it. Dr. Jill, she's got a PhD. She probably, got it from one of Hunter's crack dealers or whatever. Like,
Well,
you're a fucking doctor.
Did she earn it though? It was, or was it a bestowed?
I don't know.
Because if it's earned, then yes, it has to be doctor, because you earned your doctorate. I mean, that's one of those things. But if it's bestowed, I'm not calling you a doctor.
You earn a doctorate.
Just like if you come walking up to me with a Woodstock, tour, like concert tee, I'm like, if you were not there at those dates, take that damn shirt off.
Right.
I don't care if you wear a Metallica shirt or you do something like this, but if you have Metallica, Black Tour, this date, if you didn't go to one of those concerts, that is stolen valor. Do not put that thing on. I don't care what it is. I'm like, if you were not Woodstock 99, if you were not there, you better not be wearing that shirt.
I mean, I personally also would, let's throw something else in there. If you like living in I don't know, the Yukon or Minnesota or Montana in the mountains, and you have Salt Life on your truck, just be breaking that window right now.
Well, unless it's wintertime and you're talking about the salt on the roads, then you get a pass.
Yeah, well, whatever. Making excuses. No, that's right, MA. No cock ring.
There's some. Yeah, there's been a few things coming out. Like I said, where there have you seen this? Did you hear about this? Where
no offense, Ronald. Okay, I wasn't hitting on Minnesota, but
yeah, they're showing new links to weed killers that this is a pot. They think that there's a good chance that this actually may be one of the reasons why people are getting Parkinson's at a more elevated rate.
Weed killer?
Mm-hmm. Weed killers.
Are they cooking with it? I mean,
no, it's literally when you go out in your driveway and you spray it on the weeds, the runoff is getting they do tests now. It's in almost every, if it's not in all, it's in almost all water sources that there's traces of these chemicals in all of our foods now. So we're ingesting it. That's the thing, is literally, if you're out there with, those name brands, one of them is Circle, north up direction. It's like
I think it's around something, but maybe
it's you spray that, you spray the generic ones like that, you're literally poisoning not only yourself but all of us around.
You had a crop duster fly over you?
No, that's because that's a lot of people. It's like, well, I only do this things, but you think if you spray a gallon jug of that stuff over like a short amount of time, every single neighbor around you is doing the same exact thing. So you're talking, I want to say at that time it was Monsanto that had it. They were I want to say it was millions of gallons of this stuff, and that's going right into the water source.
Monsanto is pure evil.
Yeah, they're not. Luckily, I mean, I'd say luckily they're not around anymore. No, they were just bought up by another company.
Bayer.
Yeah.
Another
health one
and some other products.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I think it's Paraquat is one of the things that they're wanting to ban, but there's another one too.
Paraquats?
Yeah, that's one of the chemicals that they've been trying to ban. Another one, I'm trying to I can't remember the name of it.
Freedom. They're trying to ban Freedom.
What's that? What was that, Mark?
Oh, sorry.
Glyphosate.
Yeah, glyphosate. Yeah, that's the other one. I got to say that in the Alex Jones thing. They're putting glyphosate in all the waters. Yeah, I got to do it's. But that's one of those things.
That's right.
They're testing positive for glyphosates in these things even stuff that says it's organic because it's in the groundwater. Pulling it up from the ground.
How? Go ahead, Craig.
No, you can continue. It's one of those. It's whether it doesn't matter what side you're on. This is literally one of those things where it's like you see it now. It's like even like what you're saying, like freedom. It's like this is a serious problem because this has been marketed to take care of these things. And one of the things that it's marketed to take care of is a plant that is extremely beneficial to not only nature, for us to ingest. The dandelion.
Oh yeah.
Almost every part, and that's the thing. This chemical, that's one of their prime targets, is get rid of those pesky weeds, those weeds that are, and people are like, they picture dandelion, they're like, oh yeah, that weed, I got to kill those things off. No, actually, you should pick them out of the ground, use them,
make tea,
and because of all the health benefits. And yeah, Kitty, it's like this is for all intents and purposes just like a residential use Agent Orange.
Yeah,
I mean it's having neurological effects. People are like, it's my right to do this, spray this. I'm like, I'm just telling you, when your kids are coming back with neurological problems, we're going to go back to the moments like this when we say you need to stop using these chemicals because it's not a compound found in nature. This isn't something that we're going to go dig up and we're able to pump it straight out of the ground. This is a completely foreign thing to nature, and it's spreading. And now, like I said, it's infected every aspect of our lives, our food supply. It's in the animals, it's in the plants, it's in, it's everywhere.
Well, to follow up on what you're saying is, I've wondered if medieval people had the same health problems based on eating so much bread that we have today, or what if they did not, then what's the difference? And it is
it's 3 letters.
I know what the 3 letters are. I'd like to buy a vowel.
An O.
But so if there is something new being added in the last few decades, then why isn't it banned? Other than the CDC and
first off, Calvis, great point. Yes, that's one of the things why we do it there. I'll answer your Dave just joining us up here, so I'll bring him in here 1 second. But Mark, one of the things it's GMOs because it's one of the same things because a lot of the wheat and these products have now been genetically altered, and some of them have like insect and weed resistance. And the problem is those have chemicals in there that affect like the neural, it's a neurological effect. And so when you have these products now we're ingesting, it causes your body looks at this is something I'm not supposed to have in it. It rejects it. Well, then what it does, so gluten, because I've said it so many times, I challenge anybody to think back when you were growing up. If you can remember grandma or grandpa or aunt or uncle refusing rolls because they say it just tears them up every time they eat bread. I don't ever remember that. It was you would have people that are just, you'd always have like the crazy kid that had the peanut allergy, so you couldn't have those things.
And peanut allergies was so rare.
Yeah.
It's when they genetically modified the peanut that we have the major problem. The problem is genetically modified food. You're not fit to consume it. It's not healthy for you. It's not good for you. And that's why when you look on the back of products and it says bioengineered ingredients, it's all genetically modified. And 99% of the time, it's corn-based. I think there's a small population of actual corn that's not genetically modified. and the former company Monsanto is doing its best to eradicate it.
Yeah.
Well, that's my point. You could just have a president say, "Oh, I'm just going to run on, my platform is clean up the food supply."
They'd win.
Yeah.
They'd win.
Look at how much health savings there would be.
Well, I've commented
healthcare
to companies.
costs.
Yeah, Mark, I have stock in companies, and I've called them up and I said, you need to switch your damn product. You're killing people, and it's going to come back to haunt you.
Oh yeah, it will, and
it will.
And it's just what's the compliance? But all right, we left him in the green room enough. So here, let's bring him on here. We got the man behind the 1,000,000-watt powerhouse, like I said, up there in Canada. Dave Scott, spaced out radio man. How are you, sir?
Switch.
Hello, man.
Here.
How are you?
I'm good.
Hi, Dave.
Thank you for having me here.
Welcome, Dave, and welcome our other Canadian, Katie Turner. So, figured I'd give you a little bit of your anthem.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
you.
Was that sung by Justin Trudeau?
No,
let's not even go there.
We're not going there whatsoever.
Oh my God.
Are you trying to get him kicked off the public airways, sir?
Let me tell you something. Don't mess with Dave, because
Dave's a killer.
Dave's a mess.
Dave's a mess.
You got that? I got 2 buttons for you, Dave.
Yeah, no, it's.
I figured, hold on, beard oil up here for this show.
Gotta get
yes.
work it in there, get the oil massage.
Wonderful beard oil that I actually got some of that.
And then it's a matter of getting that. Yeah, do you have a sponsor for you? Some beard oil?
Yes.
This is right out of the lower mainland of British Columbia's Mighty Moose beard oil.
It's good.
Using the True North blend that smells like pine.
There you go.
Oh, nice. The current stuff I'm using is by Lit Beard Company up in Wisconsin. A couple of their bottles are themed after Metallica. One's name is Orion, the other one's is. And so as I said, oh God, I said, put this up on. It's just stroke the beard.
Somebody doesn't have.
I feel like we're rubbing it into Mark now. I just feels like this is abuse.
Well, Mark, what the hell happened here? Come on.
I don't know. See, Dave, this is what happens every time I'm like a co-host is there's always another bearded guy or I'm paired with some woman researcher and they start with the here comes like the most estrogen filled male host out there, so they bring me on. So that's it. Just never ends with with these kinds of just dualities. I'm stuck with.
I'm back. I think my Wi-Fi just went down.
Yeah, that's why I went to hardline this time.
Yeah, well, so what I did is, my computer's plugged in to it, but I think the router's going to have to be reset. So I decided to switch over to
it's probably NSA.
Cell signal. So
it could be the NSA.
Well, I don't know if you guys heard me. I was like, see, this is why we don't mention Jan 6. Look what happened, Mark. God.
We were talking about dirty Christmas songs on January 6th.
Yeah, so that we got that. But no, I really appreciate you coming on the show, Dave.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
I've looking forward to this for a while, and to be around anytime I could be around the man with 9,368 podcasts running simultaneously.
Thank you,
Brian Bowden.
Thank you very much, Dave.
I'm glad you brought that because I wanted to get to that. When did that start? Because it's a running joke, but I was just curious when that started.
You know what? It started I would say 3 years ago.
A little bit more than that, yeah.
3-4 years ago, and it just seemed like on Twitter and on Facebook, Brian kept on having a new podcast coming out, and changing hosts and changing everything. So, in my sick and twisted Canadian humor, I just every time Brian would write something on Facebook, like I rode on a roller coaster last night. Well, now the roller coaster podcast with Brian Bowden coming up starting July 1st.
But it's Dave has made people into mini legends or whatever. Like the crypto guru, Ron Murphy, gave him the title. Everybody calls him Guru. Anytime I'm on a show, I'm like, he has 947,000 podcasts. And I'm like, I can't get away from it now. So it's fine. I even do it on Saturday night, Dave. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So I appreciate that.
I try and you know what? The one thing that I love about what we do, and this is one of my hidden secrets that I've actually never really admitted to online, is I love placing a bunch of useless Easter eggs out there. Okay. Like for instance, if you listen to our show and people, coming out of the top of the hour breaks, you'll always hear me say the Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Well, people will often say to me, well, what's the password for? Exactly. It's useless. It does nothing. We just do it because we can. Right. Yep. And it kind of messes with people at times. I've had people actually get pissed off about it, but in my sense of humor, I'm inside like a little child, giggling, kind of thing. But we got to have fun because this whole genre of UFOs and cryptids. I'm not even going to talk about the paranormal side of everything because that's gone so downhill. But I mean, it's just got way too serious, and the fun seems to be escaping a lot of people. I
would say, wouldn't you say it's because, in a way, it's almost become cultish?
Yes,
and it's not, and because we've talked about this in several different forums. And I've been preaching, like, really, it's like I want everybody to start getting like more on the scientific aspect of it, getting back to where research-based do these things, because right now, I mean, you literally have people that will create it. It's almost like they've created this whole entire scenario, and then all of a sudden you have people that are like, oh my God, that's amazing, I wish I could do that too. And then pretty soon you're like, oh, holy light from above, please come down and bestow upon us this information so that way we may go forward. And you're like, you guys do realize you starting to sound like Heaven's Gate and the other ones out there, right?
It is beautiful, but that's the power of the woo, right? Here's the thing, guys. Current science will never solve the idealism of what people have experienced. Now, I'm not saying that somebody who, there's a lot of people out there who believe that Bigfoot is a human and like a hairy wild human and should have voting rights. I don't believe in that crap. Okay. There's stuff I don't believe in, but here's the problem. It doesn't matter what I believe in or Mark believes in or Brian believes in. Okay. What matters, guys, Craig, is this. The one thing certain that we don't have is answers. And when we start, and especially over the last 7 years since the whole UFO flap blew up, what we have had go on is in every genre of what we love is we have a bunch of people running around basing their idealisms, their thoughts, their spectrums on opinion. Nobody looks for facts anymore. Everything is about opinion. A prime example of this is the BFRO. And I know people in the BFRO. There's good people in the BFRO. However, I know people who have had their reports edited because there was a UFO sighting or a paranormal happening or the creature disappeared right in front, like vanished right in front of the person. And they've written about this, and the BFRO eliminates that from the report because they want to be scientific.
But
Okay,
that's part of the science, and that's what they don't.
exactly.
It's not only what is it you said of opinion, but it's also ego, because there are
Huge.
people that are very famous online and on TV shows that think because they're on the TV show, they know everything about Bigfoot or aliens or extraterrestrials, or they've written 17 books and they're really an author, but they know better than you. And I've
Well,
always
I
had
mean,
a problem with that.
you look at Ryan Graves, the former fighter pilot who had an encounter on the East Coast with a cube inside an orb. Okay, I'll get to that point here in a second. Okay, Ryan Graves, being a fighter pilot, a patriot, I'll call him a hero. I think anybody who serves is
Oh,
a
yeah.
hero in one way or another. I think we can agree on that. Okay, but there's a guy who really came into the field of ufology, anti-ufology. Okay, I know better. I flew an F-16. I know better. And what happens? He takes a conference to Mexico where Jaime Maussan is showing off the fake Peruvian bodies and the mummies.
The tiramisu.
And everybody had warned Ryan. Bunch of people in ufology warned him, stay away from that because you're going to have a black eye coming out of it. But no, he knew better than us because he served in the military. Okay, he flew the jets and he's in the Disclosure for Dollars movement. Okay,
Right.
so
Well, and yeah, no, it's kind of this play off that for you too. It's one of, like, I look at here, you have somebody that, in the legal aspect of it, it's not considered admissible because it's not but unless people actually go double check this, how do we know that this person was even a fighter pilot? How do we know that this, unless people actually go back and they actually research these people out? A lot of them, it's like this third, fourth accounts where this person claimed that this person was the secretary for this director, and that's how we got this information out that there's bodies buried here underneath this base in Iowa. And you're like, I'm going to need more than fourth account.
Yeah. Can I respond to Calabas?
Yeah.
Okay. Calabas, I don't think you're fully understanding what I'm saying because I actually agree with you. There are plenty of actual sky watchers searching for tangible evidence. Absolutely, there are. Absolutely. I'm one of them. Okay. I'm one of them. I mean, Brian and I don't say this a lot on the air. Okay. But Brian and I have talked. I've had the ability to summon UFOs. I know what it's like to stare up at the sky and all of a sudden say, okay, guys, come show me. Right.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And I do believe that there is a lot of good work going out there. But the problem with the majority of the people who are that are looking for credibility in this field, they hide behind the word science. That's the biggest mistake that we have. It's like if you ever go on to a paranormal team's website, okay, in their description, they always say they are conducting scientific investigation into the paranormal. You want to screw up a paranormal team? What do? You ask them, what do you do with your evidence? Well, what do you mean? We collect it. Okay, what do you do with it, though? After you're done, what do you do with your evidence? Well, what do you mean? Well, if you're using scientific method, you would be cooperating with other teams to see how they accounted at the same building to see if your evidence matched theirs for any sort of positive result. Or you have every paranormal team who has the team skeptic on there, and they're always posed like this. You ever notice that?
Yeah.
Crisscross applesauce. Yeah. Everybody's like this.
Serious eyebrows pointed down, and they're looking. Why does a team need a team skeptic? Okay, you don't. You should be skeptical enough in order to know whether something is valid or explainable. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm just tired of the fake science of it all.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Gary
I-
Nolan said it best. Sorry for cutting you off, Brian.
No, no, no.
Gary Nolan from Stanford University said it best, because there's a bunch of scientists out there who want people like us four and your audience to go away because we're annoying to them. Our podcasts, our radio shows, our YouTube channels, we're annoying to them. Okay? And so what happens there, guys, is Gary Nolan stepped back and said, hold on a second here. We need these people who are summoning UFOs or having alien contact, or people who claim they've been implanted or have hybrid children. Those are leads. They may not be great evidence, but they are major leads on where to look. Example, last night I had David Marler on the show. Okay. And south of me, where I grew up, there is an area there that is always about dozens of sightings each year about black triangles. If you know anything about David Marler's research, he does some of the greatest research on black triangles. He didn't know that my area was a hotbed for black triangles. Now he has leads. Now he has areas to research of why are they there? Is it because my town was right along the American border of Washington State? Okay. And we're talking triangles, guys, from the size of jet planes to the size of cities that have been seen.
Yeah.
Right. So I apologize. I went.
No, that's why we had you on, sir.
Well, I mean, what I was going to bring up is that, and this is my big complaint. I still believe in that disclosure happened in 1977, and the man, the myth, and the legend. Hynek was there in the movie of Close Encounters. But on top of that, everybody's going goo goo gaga, and they have like David Koresh. He's the new thing. Everything that man says is hearsay. And I'm sorry, it's as far as I can tell, it's hearsay. And if he's saying I heard third, fourth party, and I'll bring these people in, he's putting people into an uncomfortable position that probably don't want to be named. And you don't know what he's actually telling you that is not hearsay or is hearsay. If people wanted to come out, they would have come out at this point, because there is
a lot of people, Brian, to play devil's advocate here for a second. A lot of people can't come out because their names are attached to different missions, of top secret missions, whether it's at Guantanamo Bay, like Lou Elizondo, or whether it's in Afghanistan or Syria or Iran or Iraq. They can't come out. And that's why he wants to get behind a skiff. Now, the real tragedy, never mind, we're focusing on David Grush. Guys, there's two tragedies coming out of this. Number one is the word transparency. I want you all to focus on the word transparency for a second, because all we hear out of Tim Burchett's mouth and Matt Gaetz' mouth and Anna Luna's mouth and Marco Rubio's mouth and Christian Gillibrand's mouth is we need UFO transparency. Then why the hell are you keeping shit behind the door? Why is everything juicy going behind closed doors? That's not transparency to the American public, to the American taxpayer, okay, who is soon going to realize that this entire thing, and people are going to harp on me for this, guys, okay, but this has nothing to do with UFOs. Nothing. Remember?
I was going to say, go ahead, continue.
Remember in 2015 when Hillary Clinton was interviewed in her presidential run against Trump, okay, where I think she was on Jimmy Kimmel or one of the Jimmy's shows, those horrible late night talk shows, okay, where literally they are having to force the audience to clap, okay, because, let's face it, Jimmy Kimmel and the other Jimmy are not funny. They are Roseanne Barr not funny, okay?
Right.
The idea behind that is she came out and said, we don't call them UFOs anymore. We call them UAPs.
She changed the narrative.
And all of a sudden, everybody went UAP crazy. What the hell is this UAP? Then in 2016 or 2017, Tom DeLonge creates the To the Stars Academy talking about UAPs. And guess what? If you went on the TTSA website that day, there was not a single word about UFO or UAP on the TTSA website. So then we get to the New York Times article, and the videos all about UAP.
Yep.
And up until February, when I finally figured it out, UAP are man-made objects.
Oh,
It has nothing to do with UFOs or little gray dudes with big black eyes. Okay. And when they erased the Schumer amendment and changed it, what they did was they got rid of they got rid of the UAP transparency because people like Mike Turner, whose voting stock mostly works at a certain Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, okay, they have a lot of secrets there. And the UAP transparency was more so about learning about the technology that the United States is hiding from its own people. I have a friend of mine who worked, I can't tell you where he worked, but I can tell you it's somewhere in Nevada and a place that did not used to exist. Okay? He told me one scary freaking story that did you know that each and every month, and I don't know what day, that there are certain aircraft that fly out of this formerly non-existent base and they do bombing runs on downtown Las Vegas Boulevard and in downtown LA, and nobody knows. And they have yet to confirm whether or not they've been able to track these UAPs on radar.
Yep.
I'll give you another example. Guys, where we miss a lot of the boat, have any of you served in the military?
No, sir.
No.
Okay. So
Family has, but not me.
So one of the things that really intrigues me, guys, is military patches. Because military patches tell an incredible story. And if you ever want to learn about Area 51, read the patches. Learn how to read what the signals are on the patches.
Do you think that's why, like, the security team doesn't have anything identifying marks on them? Like the guys that drive the white trucks, they pull up and they don't have anything. They don't have name patches. They don't have insignias, flag. They have nothing.
They're private contractors. Oh, and here's another one. Did you know that here's another one about Area 51 that I learned from a secret friend. Each and every month, United States Navy SEALs break into Area 51 to see how long it takes for security to react to them.
Yep.
It's part of their training. But anyways,
that's cool. I didn't know.
If you follow the patches, I was shown a patch that was 50 years old. And a lot of the patches around Area 51 all surround the cartoon from Disney, Alice in Wonderland. That I was shown was of the Mad Hatter. It was a 50-year-old patch. Mad Hatter is holding a red pill and a blue pill. Well, 30 years later, the Matrix comes out about would you take the red pill or the blue pill. But on that patch, there was something really interesting. Above the Mad Hatter's right shoulder was a breaking up white pill in darkness. So it was black background with the white pill half broken, like it was shattered, going into the white part of the patch where the Mad Hatter was. And guess what that pill looked like? A Tic Tac.
Really?
Well,
I've been told that as much as 90% of what we see in the sky is man-made,
I agree.
if not more.
I
And now my friend who I trust like anything, okay, who we call him on our show. Oh, I can't say that. I
Good.
can't say that right now. But my friend who worked there, he basically he can't tell me a lot of stuff because of his NDAs. What he can tell me is what I'm allowed to know, just like what you guys are allowed to know or the public is allowed to know. Okay. And it's real interesting because most people head out to Area 51 on a Saturday or Sunday because when are you in Vegas? You're there usually during the weekend. They know that. That's why there's nothing flying out there on Saturday and Sunday. If you want to see what's flying out there, go out to the desert on the Wednesday and Thursday. So this is how it breaks down is if you start from Saturday and Sunday, those are the pilots and everybody's day off. Monday, they fly in via the Janet jets, okay, and they start the preparation on the craft for testing on Wednesday. Wednesday, they do a land. Some of them actually will take off on Wednesdays. Mainly on Thursdays is when the test flying in the night is going on. And then Friday, there's nothing going on. That's the debrief. Everybody goes home on the Janet jets back to Vegas, and there's nothing happening there on the weekends. That's what happens at Area 51. There are no little green men there anymore. There haven't been for at least 30 years. Okay, no UFOs, no green men. Haven't been for about 30 years. But they're somewhere. And that's why we still hold out hope. But the problem that we have is a lot of this stuff has been taken into private corporation. Okay, so Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Boeing,
Motors. Yeah.
General Motors, many of these defense contractors are the ones that are really holding on to the tech. Why? Because they are exempt from FOIA request. If the United States government was holding on to UFOs right now, like David Grush says, they could be FOIA or brought under FOIA request.
Yeah, even with all the blacking out, you'll still get some kind of response for it.
Well, doesn't that kind of go back to the whole Eisenhower, meeting with the ambassadors when he went missing back in '54?
Oh yeah,
because it came back, and then his warnings before he left about the military-industrial complex. Because kind of what you just talked about, wouldn't that be, in a way, kind of like he met with these people, so he knew what was going on. He knew he would see the stuff that from the recovered craft, from what these things, like what the government was working on, plus what these people, if this alleged meeting would have given this information, and then he comes out with that warning about industrial military complex. Well, that's what we're in right now. So that would be the warning about, it's like, we don't get a handle on this, we're going to be in the exact situation we're in right now, where we basically have corporations that are just as powerful.
yes.
Yeah. Kennedy did it.
Remember Lockheed Skunk Works back in 1992, their head of the department, Ben Rich, made two ominous quotes. Number one, we already have the technology to get ET home again. And number two, we are a minimum of 50 years ahead of what the United States public sees up in the sky. So here's the interesting thing that I was tipped off to. Okay, the Russians and the Chinese over the last decade have literally just started building stealth aircraft.
Yep.
The Americans were building stealth aircraft in the 60s. What do they have now? There's apparently a flying wing squadron, like a smaller version of the B-2 bomber, but they're jet fighters.
Yeah.
And we don't know where they are. We can only assume they're out of 51 and other places. All right. So if China and Russia are just now getting into stealth technology in the 2010s and 2020s, where's the United States? Hypersonic? Okay. Maybe having craft that can drop from 80,000 feet to 10 feet above sea level in under a second, or flying at 90,000 kilometers an hour or miles an hour, and then all of a sudden hang a left without a signal. Where are we?
I mean, one of the people I've interviewed in one of my 9,000 podcasts and became friendly with is a guy named Derek Tyler, and he has had multiple abductions. I don't know if he was on your SOR.
Yeah, I had him on a number of years ago.
Yeah, very knowledgeable guy, and we were, I don't scare very easily at all. And he told me before the interview, he gave us a copy of the book. He said, read if you're going to do anything, read these 3 chapters. And I read like 2 of the chapters in his book. I've read all of them, but 2 of them scared the hell out of me. And I talked to him privately off air, and he believed, and this was at least 10 years ago when this happened, maybe more. At that point, 10 years ago, he said without a doubt in his mind, we are about 150 years ahead of anybody else.
Yes.
And I'm talking about all of them, China, Russia, all of them combined.
I believe that.
And now, in the 10 years, we're probably almost 200 years ahead of people.
Yes. I think that is an extremely correct statement from what I have heard. Okay. Guys, here's the thing. And this is where the American public should be pissed off. The 747 was developed in the 1960s. Same airframe is still flying, guys.
Yeah.
It's still doing the same speed. It still takes 19 hours to get to Australia. Okay. It still takes 5 hours to get from New York to London. How in the hell is that even possible with today's technology? We should be, okay. I mean, yes, we had the Concorde there for a while that was moving at, flying at Mach 2, and it was cutting flights down between London and New York to, I believe, 2 hours.
2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours. Okay. But the military, you talk about the military industrial complex, it's because they never get challenged.
Nope.
And the problem is with UFOs, for the first time, they're being challenged. They're being challenged for what they know. And this is what's getting a lot of people into hot water. It's creating all of these cliques within the UFO world. The newbies, like I asked David Marler last night, I said, are you fearful about what's going to happen to ufology after all the old birds die off? Because everybody is investigating UAP. UAP, once again, has nothing to do with UFOs.
Yep.
Okay. And all of these newbies that are coming up and catching the UFO bug, are they really catching the UFO bug, or are they catching the UAP bug because they think it all has to do with government?
They're catching, first of all, there's a lot of people that just get on board something to be part of something, and
Absolutely.
they're not all in. And then, you get the select few of the group that will go on. Well, the real words, they want to be buzzword people. Real words, UAP. And every time I hear that, I'm like, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
And I try to build this back up. And this is just from my personal experience. And I'm going to say this is about 99% of the time. If you see images or a video of an object and it's fairly crystal clear and you know what that object looks like, usually black triangles, TR3Bs, the black triangle. You see some of these craft that are doing some crazy things, and it's viewable, and it's not blurry or fuzzy or at a distance or grainy. You're looking at a man-made vehicle, because the real aliens, the extraterrestrials that have been off planet and coming here, they know how to hide. They've been doing it for millions of years, and they're hiding right in front of your face. And somebody, picking up on the fact that some of these clouds, they're using cloud form to hide their craft. It's obvious. A lot of times they get a little sloppy, and you get a little right angle in a cloud. There's no such thing as a right angle in society. But this is the problem. You get people like, no, that's just a cloud form. That's not real. That's, a projection. And then they'll start picking up on, they'll use other buzzwords. Oh, that's just that blue beam stuff. It's not real.
Absolutely.
They don't know what they're talking about.
Absolutely. I have a few trigger words where
Squatching.
squatch is one of my trigger words. I know if somebody goes squatching, that their evidence is bullshit.
Yeah, I always like to call them Bigfoot, but
okay. And I know, Brian, you may disagree with me on that one, but
no. I don't like Sasquatch. I usually talk about
when somebody in the paranormal uses the word science, I know they're full of shit because they haven't done a scientific experiment since high school. Okay. And now with the UFO world, if they are staunch UAP people, I know I need to question them. I have.
But you don't consider their temperature thermometer as a scientific basis for the entire investigation.
Or
I have my thermal thing. Check the temperature. I see. We did science.
Your fellow Canadian that's in the audience right now, Dave, who you should have you need to have Katie Turner on your show. I don't think she would last because it's East Coast.
Not that one.
She asked why they left, but she had a comment on there about a lot of these people that are doing the paranormal end of it are doing it because they have their own questions. They have their own research. They're not doing it for fame or fortune. They want answers. It's the ones that try to get their TV show, or they're doing the podcast afterwards, or they want the buzzwords, just like you've been saying. There you go. It is a lot of self-interest. I mean, I know I investigate. I want
anytime, Mark.
Yeah, I want answers, but it is self-interest. I want to know what's going on. And if I find some stuff, I'll share it here and there.
Yeah, guys, and the reason why Katie isn't on my show yet is because she's a Calgary Flames fan, and I'm an Edmonton Oilers fan.
I don't know about that. I'm not starting anything.
That just means that her and I are probably just going to brawl. Okay.
No.
It's like Tim Hunter versus Dave Semenko back in the day.
Well, you've seen that old hockey commercial with I think it was ESPN, the Boston Bruins. The guy's there, and he's got his date with him, and I think she's got the Calgary jersey on, and the Bear's just looking at him. He's like, she's so beautiful. Slaps the beer out of his hand. It's like never date within the division. It's one of those. It's like never podcast with an opponent fan.
Absolutely, but on a serious note, yeah, there are a number. Look, the people who are doing the real investigation right now are people who are doing it silently. Okay, they are people who are not looking for the fame. They may write books about it. Grant Cameron is one of them. David Weatherly is another. Joshua Cutchin is very well versed. Some of them are mouthpieces. Melinda Leslie, major mouthpiece. I mean, if you want something to get out there,
Melinda,
and I know this for a fact, if you want something to get out in the world, you tell Melinda Leslie. The world will know within 10 minutes because somebody will have her on her podcast. Yep. Okay. In response to Katie's question here about lights in the sky, I mean, it depends. If you know what Elon Musk's Starlink looks like, that's man-made. And trust me, I'm out looking almost every night for UFOs. Okay, almost every night after the show, I try and get outside if it's clear and look for UFOs. UAP, though, you have to learn what is Venus a UAP? Because a lot of people will say, well, Venus looked like it was moving when it's closest to Earth. Well, that's just the gases up in space that make it twinkle.
Was gonna be part of it, but it's also it's like, yeah, because it's the twinkling. I mean, it's like one. I mean, the transition, makes the shape of a pentagram, and it's all traverse. I mean, it's gonna it's gonna have that appearance that it's flying all over the sky. But that was one. Mark, you had a question, right?
Yeah. Dave, for the last 30 minutes, you've provided many examples of discussions about uh, different types of technology and historical differences between UFOs and UAPs. When people tune in weeknights to Spaced Out Radio, they will hear a lot of uh, discussions like that.
Yeah.
Um, you over the years, you've with great guests, your knowledge of bringing very knowledgeable people to your show. It's Spaced Out Radio is one of the largest networks out there. You're always expanding the show. Been picked up by FM stations. W- Uh, um, what are s- what do you think is some of the secrets to your success? Where are you going with the show?
Oh, good question. Um, there's a couple of things, Mark, that we do differently. Okay. And I've said this to many people who've come to me and asked me about advice. Okay. I am a broadcaster. That's what I went to college for, was radio broadcasting. Okay. There is a huge difference between a broadcast and a podcast. Okay. And so when I designed the SOR, I wanted it to be for a terrestrial broadcast. And that's what we designed it for. Now, a lot of people have transitioned that radio broadcast or that television broadcast type very successfully into the podcast world. Joe Rogan is one of them. There's many others out there who have done it. I was watching one today on YouTube where I guess today was National Letter of Intent Day in the United States for football scholarships. And I was watching this on YouTube, and they were bringing up stats and brackets of all these young teenage kids from every state. And I was just, I'm like, the subject doesn't interest me. I don't know any of these kids, but just the quality of it was absolutely amazing. And so, Mark, one thing that we always tried to do was try and perfect this for terrestrial radio, because I think there is still a very big hole at night with reruns of politics and reruns of basketball games and football games and the local news, that there is a real hole in the night for people who want to listen to something spooky and scary. And in my opinion, and I don't mean this to cut down other hosts, but I miss Art Bell.
Oh yeah.
That
100%.
and the problem that we have in this field, okay, and I use this analogy. It took the NHL 75 years to find Gretzky. It took boxing thousands of years to find Muhammad Ali and then Mike Tyson. It took radio in our field. The problem that we had is the best came first.
Right.
Art Bell was the best. and he was the first guy out of the hole who recognized that his ratings spiked because he was originally a late night political show. But every time he started talking about UFOs or aliens or weird stuff, he was smart enough to recognize that his ratings jumped huge. He would see rating spikes in listeners. So all of a sudden he started doing these topics night after night after night. Well, God bless George Norrie. I've met George a number of times. He's been incredibly nice and helpful to me. Okay. But he has kind of gone off on coast to coast with different tangents. And yes, he still does the paranormal and stuff, but that's maybe about 50% of the time now. Okay. Whereas what I want is I kind of developed SOR to be that late night show. Now, I don't know whether we've been held back because we're Canadian content or, radio over the last 25 years has become very corporate rather than, mom and pop radio stations that we all grew up on with DJs who actually spun music back in the day. Okay. But that's what we designed it for. And, some may look at us as a success. I think that we've had a number of trips and falls, but we've always kind of stayed on the path of what we wanted to do. And I'm still not satisfied with where we are. I would like to be having 30, 40, 50 radio stations right now after about 9-10 years of doing this. But in the reality, we have 8. And it's 8 more than a lot of people have.
Yeah, still, I mean, 8, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you were saying, with the Art Bell thing. I mean, I really think, because you're right about with the difference between him and Norrie. Art Bell never had that agenda. These were things. I mean, because who doesn't remember the stories of like the truck drivers calling in, telling the story, and he always treated people. It's like he never made the determination of this person's nuts, this person's sane. This is the amazing story. He would take somebody's story and dig into it and let the listener, the person, because I remember stocking shelves at Home Depot, and me and my partner over there we're working the electrical thing, and he's got his little handheld radio, and we're listening to Coast to Coast AM as we're sitting here working graveyard. And that was our nightly routine.
Guys, I was sitting in a different radio station, and in between when we would go on air, we were listening to our competition playing Art Bell. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how messed up it was, man. That's how messed up it was. But everybody loved Art Bell.
The boss comes by, you quickly hit
of 9. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, that was a hole. That was a giant hole that was left when he.
Yeah. And the other thing too, guys, is we also have a slogan where we believe everybody. A lot of people have criticized me for that over the years, but we try to believe everybody because you know what? I've never stood in your shoes, Craig. You've never stood in mine. Who am I to sit there and say that your experiences are crap? And even though I've never experienced what you've experienced. And I think as I've learned and matured through this field, getting back to what Mark was saying, I have come to realize that the phenomenon, it affects everybody differently. There are no patterns to the phenomenon. The phenomenon will show me something and it'll show Brian something differently. I mean, how many times you hear these stories where you hear these multiple groups, say groups of 10, 12 people have a UFO sighting in the middle of the campground where they're camping in the middle of the forest, and you get their stories and they're all different. How the hell can that be? Because the phenomenon only showed you what it wanted you to see. The phenomena is an incredible power. There was a comment earlier about Grant Cameron. I don't know who said it, but saying that Grant Cameron went off his rocker a long time ago. I'm going to defend Grant on this for a second because Grant is an idol and a mentor of mine.
Right.
Grant has never gone off his rocker. The reason why I love people like Grant Cameron in this field is because when he gets something, as wacky as it may seem, he follows that path until he can close the door on it. Then he reverses and goes down another path. He is always researching from the time he woke up until the time he goes to bed each night. He is always researching. And some of the topics, it may seem fully absurd, but that's what research is about. It's not about closing doors before we've investigated them. And Grant has the balls to actually investigate these how can I put it? These stories, as absurd as they may be, but he wants to find out whether they're true or not, or if there's anything to them or not. So
Right.
that's just the point that I wanted to just clarify with Grant. So yeah, fire away, guys. What do we got? How much longer do we have?
Oh, I've got about 45 minutes.
Perfect.
If I figured I'd give you till at least I thought the time is it's no God, I'm trying to think. While you were talking about there, I was trying to think about the other guy. He's I listened to him a lot while up there, and I lived in Oregon. He had the same late night show. His name. He every now and then he co-hosts Coast to Coast AM, but he had
Richard?
Lewis then. Ian Punnett.
It could be. It was one, but it's the same thing. He's like he kind of did a lot like what Art Bell would do in those type of things, and that's even like doing this show. That's kind of what I've always strived for. Is one of those, and I've said it several times. It's like even with my opinions on some of the stuff out there, you said it perfectly. I can't tell you what you felt, what you saw out there in the woods. That's not something that anybody can discount. The only thing I've ever always gone after are the ones that they keep making the outlandish claims but never show anything for it. It'd be one of those, like if you said every night I go out and I see these triangle craft and everything, and then you never have a video, you'd be like, you're going to have people that are going to be like, why? I mean, if you see them every night, you should be doing like the movies. You have cameras set up everywhere to try to catch something.
But Craig, can I play devil's advocate for a
second?
second?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is proof?
That's it's good. It's a good point because it's subjective. Like who would take what as an absolute, as absolute evidence?
If you caught the next Patterson Gimlin film, would you release it?
Myself, yes.
So you would be willing to put your family for the next 3 generations and their health and their welfare and their stigma and your stigma on social media that will affect them for the next 50 plus years?
I think, like, for me, I'd go for it because it wouldn't be out of an ego-driven thing. Like, I want recognition. It would be like, I just capture this. What do you guys think? And that's how I would. That's how I'd release it. It wouldn't be like, then I'm defending it for the rest of my thing. It's like, this is what I caught. You guys, and then if you have people, well, you faked it. It's like, I don't really. It's not even. I was like, even now, like if people criticize now, I don't really take stuff as an ego side. If somebody right now said, Craig, you're foolish, I don't like this.
Well, Craig, you are.
Yeah.
What I'm saying though is, imagine your children. Do you have kids?
Yeah, I've got one son.
Okay. May I please ask, is it okay to ask how old he is?
Yeah, he's 15.
Okay. So let's rewind him to say 7, 8 years old. And Daddy Craig gets the next Patterson Gimlin film. goes public online with it. All the news outlets pick it up. Everybody picks it up. Okay, you're now on record for it. And all of a sudden your son starts getting bullied that his dad's an idiot, his dad's a liar, his dad made up the video, his daddy is this, his daddy is that. Would you be prepared for that?
I would have to say no.
None of us would be.
Yeah,
Nope.
I think that would be something that we would have, you'd
But
have to adjust for. Yeah.
That's what happened to Patterson and Gimlin. They had, like, people threatened their lives over a freaking Bigfoot video,
Yeah.
right? And that's what, and their children got harassed by the fellow students, and parents couldn't get jobs because of who their father was. Okay, so the point that I'm getting at here is, if I know for a fact that if I caught the next Patterson Gimlin video, I would never release it. In fact, I can tell you right now, on this phone, I have a video of my daughter having a fairy flying in her bedroom. I've never released it. That video is probably 8 years old, because you know why? I won't release it. Number one, because I don't know how to edit their faces out. I'm not good with video. Number two, I don't need my daughter's face or reputation all over the internet because of a fairy video. Number three, people don't understand that when that video was taken, it was taken in February, where it's usually around minus 25 to minus 30 degrees Celsius where I live, and there are no bugs flying around. But people won't understand that.
Right.
So
What?
I could release that video. It's 6 seconds long, and you see this bug, or what looks like a bug, go wing, 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 wing. There are no bugs flying in minus 20 to 30 degrees, even inside a house. In wintertime, I don't have bugs here.
So do you have an explanation?
It's
No,
a fairy.
it looks like
It's literally a fairy.
I've showed you it, haven't I, Brian?
Yeah, and I've seen it. It's a fairy. It's one legit.
Okay.
Well, I was,
Yeah.
and I would kind of just go back, because like with the devil's advocate thing. So couldn't we turn that and say, then you could almost use that for the people that are constantly putting out images and stuff like that, where that there's nothing there. There's there's stuff, and then you go the same place. Wouldn't that show, like, most people wouldn't want to expose themselves to this? So there's got to be something else where you're wanting to put yourself in that spotlight all the time for that criticism.
I think you have to really, really push yourself, because there are people out there who want that 15 minutes of fame. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to show you a picture here, if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And there, if you don't mind posting that, if everybody can see that. Where's the ghost?
I plugged into the internet and it doesn't work perfectly. There we go. Oh,
Can you show me where the ghost is?
Seems like there's a dark form kind of bottom left corner.
Here?
No, the
Over
other
here?
side.
That's just darkness.
Okay.
That's a lack of daylight there. So you'll see the person here underneath the stairwell. You can see their head. They're wearing black clothing. You'll see the shadow of someone else on the bottom right.
Well, because I was wondering, like, that banister, it almost looked, I was wondering if there's something in front of that, or if that was just like hanging down, because like you said, it looks, now you're zooming in closer, it looks like somebody's standing right there underneath that railing.
It almost looks like Jason wearing his hockey mask going up the steps too.
And now I see something up at the top of the stairs.
Okay, so the gentleman on the stairwell is the ghost.
There you go.
Wow.
And if you can see clearly, you will see a mark on like a scar going down the middle of his forehead, staring right at the camera.
Hmm.
I have had people call this person an owl. I don't know how you get owl out of that. I've had people call it a cardboard cutout. I've had people call it a human walking up the stairs. I've had a lot of things. But that man doesn't exist. Now, let me show you. If we go to this photo right here. Okay, let me expand it here. You see the two orbs of light.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you go to 2 o'clock above the top orb, you will see the same face right there staring back with the scar on the forehead. Taken months after. And after this photo was taken, he started attacking people, myself included. I've been attacked by this guy 3 times.
Huh.
So with a face that gives like the scar, starting in the forehead, profile. There's a lot of evidence there. Do you know who this person is?
No. But I can tell you one thing, Mark. I had to cut a deal with him. Okay, this is what I do know about this gentleman. At my local museum where I run a paranormal ghost tour, we run a ghost tour to raise money for the museum that has about 8 different buildings on it and is one of the only non-government funded museums in the province of British Columbia. It is right on the Gold Rush Trail. We do not know if he was part of the Gold Rush. Okay. We do know that he knows his own ability. And in order to keep him calm, I need to, number one, make sure that nobody takes photographs of him. He hates his picture being taken. So when we go into his area, we can no longer take photos. Okay. And we make sure that all of our guests who are on tour do not take photos of him. Number 2, he always has a bottle of whiskey by him. There's that stairway going up. There is a bottle of whiskey, and there are always cigarettes there. Now, the interesting part about it, before this season, when we did the ghost tour this season, the cigarettes were found on the stairwell going down to the first floor.
Nice.
Well, how
Has
the
anybody
hell-
taken an unauthorized photograph that you know of?
Yes. I got attacked. I had a real drunk guy on my tour this year, and I should have never allowed him on. But there he was, as I'm explaining. There he was with his phone. Click, 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 click. I'm like, what did I say? I said, somebody's going to get attacked now. An hour and a half later, I was keeled over, puking.
So do you think he targeted you and he said
Always does.
you were responsible?
I made
You
the
were
deal.
told- You made the deal. Okay.
I made the deal. And my buddy Mark made the deal with him. One of my tour guides. We made a deal with him to keep him safe. And when the
Kind
deal
of-
gets broken, he reminds us.
Yep.
Okay, but there have been times where I have caught him harassing women. Okay. And I've literally had to chase him back up his stairs and down his catwalk, as stupid as that sounds. Right.
Right.
So him and I have had tete-a-tetes before, and we will still continue to have tete-a-tetes.
Just whip
But
out your phone. I'm going to take your picture if you don't knock it off. Oh, go. I'm
but
going to click.
I will say this. Though. I will say this. He is very kind at certain times. Like I have helped shoot 2 television shows in there now,
Right.
and both times I've gone up there and I explained to him that a camera crew, a film crew is coming in. They'd like permission to come upstairs into your territory. You have the choice whether or not you want to be seen or not. Okay, but they're coming to see you. And there's going to be cameras, there's going to be photos taken. And if you could just give them an hour to do their thing, and then when you've had enough, just let us know and we will move on. And he's been very kind about that. You know, he doesn't like it, but he's been kind.
Yeah, I was helping somebody out recently, and they were taking care of their sister's estate and the property in Louisiana, and I got drafted to do the remote view, and I did it. And but I knew that I told you can make a deal with this person right now, this entity, and they did. It's not going to last forever, but you can make a deal. And she did. They kind of got out of where they had to be and did what they needed to do, but she needed to come back, and there was no more deals to be made. He was being a real piece of work. So it's tough. You can make deals with some of them.
Yeah, Ron wants to know, like, why is he staying there? I mean, have you been starting to figure that out?
I think it's a safe spot for him. You have to remember, if he is from the Gold Rush Trail, the Gold Rush Trail was extremely violent. The Gold Rush Trail was the reason why the Northwest Mounted Police, which many people now know as the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or Mounties, okay, was created, because it was all about murder and rape and kidnapping and theft and killing horses of your competitors so you could steal their gold. And like, there's rumors that the lake behind my house, about 2 miles away, has about over 100 bodies in it.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because people were just that murderous in the gold rush.
Gold fever, man. I mean, people.
That right.
Well, I'm just going to say that, Brian, too. I wonder if that's it.
Nobody knows, because there's no record. Nobody knows how many people were killed between Reno and Alaska on the Gold Rush Trail. And that trail is literally 3/4 of a mile behind me right now. And
well, that's the thing. I mean, do you think that guy, just like what Brian was saying, do you think there's a possibility that he still possesses that gold fever to where if I go, I'm going to miss out on that mother lode?
We actually had a ghost in there. His name was Stan. And we get a lot of ghosts coming through the museum that are they're traveling. On their timeline, they're either heading north or they're heading back south. And this was an American guy, we believe from California. And he was literally answering questions for us for about 40 minutes. And then all of a sudden, we asked him point blank, "Where's your gold?" He disappeared. That was the trigger question. He was gone. Right? Who is on the stairs? We don't know the gentleman's name, Katie. He won't give it up to us.
She can find out.
But
No.
but Dave,
Not kidding.
in with books like the House of the Seven Gables. Okay, you have the Ghost Parade towards the end of the book. All the family has some kind of connection to all the ghosts have a connection to that house since they're family members. Uh, uh, y- do most of the ghosts, like the one you're talking about, may have uh, been murdered? Possibly the scar is an indication of that. Do you think that he is just kind of stuck in that area? What's your view on uh, that? Why people don't, you go to heaven after some possible horrible event that ends their lives suddenly?
Mark, I think there's a couple of different ways to explain that. Number one, I think a lot of it is dimensional. Okay. Like we were investigating, 9 of us were investigating the Gold Rush Trail in
Hmm.
2018. And we came to, now we were all using K2 meters. Now I know there's a lot of people out there in the paranormal world who will say, oh, K2 meters are full of crap. Okay. They don't work, blah, blah, blah. Okay. We're in the middle of an area where there is no electricity. Okay. And here we are getting responses, and we were able to figure out through the questioning, okay, when you have 8 or 9 K2 meters lighting up at the same time going all red to your answers, that tells you that you're not sitting on a copper frickin' wire in the middle of the forest.
Well, it goes
And
back to, yeah, that goes back to your thing earlier about where people, they just show up with a little stuff. I mean, because if people can use dowsing rod, anything's going to work. And it's like, it's all about how you set up your experiment that you said. If you don't go around and test, yeah.
you're exactly right. Like I can tell you guys point blank, and Mark, I'll get back to your point here in a second. If I'm out on my ghost tour, there are certain pieces of equipment that I don't use because they don't work for me. A K2 meter works for me. Like I know my buddy Merle, who will be on my show in
Earl.
8 hours. Okay. He thinks the K2 meter is a joke. And
Yeah,
I'm sitting here saying, but Mike, the problem is it works for me. It may not work for you, but it works for me.
right.
And a ghost box, for instance, I never get responses on ghost boxes. How come a ghost box doesn't work for me? Yet Bill Hauser, a good friend of mine, he gets
Works.
frickin' sentences from these ghosts. I get
Yeah.
right. But getting back to Mark's point, these people who that we met up with, we found out, Mark, it was a Chinese man and wife that they had just sailed over from China. Okay, they spent their money on buying 2 horses and a carriage, and they were going up to a place called Barkerville, which had a Chinese gold mining community, and that's where they were heading. And so after about 10-15 minutes of talking with them, we're like, okay, thank you, you can go. But all our meters kept going off. And here we were standing in the middle of the trail. So all of a sudden, I get this idea, and I'm thinking, I'm going to walk down the trail. My meter is still going off, still going off, still going off. I get about 30 feet. Guess what? My meter now goes off. Well, I then start to think, this is the 1800s for them. They're walking this trail. They're not walking alone. They've got their horses and carriage with them. So I said to my team, I said, let's split up, half on one side of the path, other half on the other side of the path. And they can't move because we're blocking the path. If we move, now they can move. Sure enough, when we split the team in half, you can see the K2 meters going from red back to green as they passed us. and they were finally passed until they reached the end of the line.
Hmm.
Now, the question is, were we the ghosts to them?
That is a good question, because that's been asked. I mean, I've asked that question. What if what we're experiencing right now, we're actually dead? Somebody even threw another one for you. What if that white light at the end of the tunnel was you being reborn again?
Could be. Or the
Right.
Mandela effect.
Yeah. I mean, and I notice I use different equipment. So I use whatever abilities, try to review it beforehand, get
Thanks,
myself
Junior. Appreciate it.
situated with it. But I've used certain, believe it or not, apps on phones, and we've calibrated it. Like I'm using the same app as on an iPhone as someone using it on a Google phone, and we getting the same response. I mean, that's very rare. I know enough about computer programming that yes, you can manipulate certain things, but they're not going to take the time to do that. And if we're getting the same things popping up, it's pretty valid. But then again, it's whatever you want to believe in. Some people are only like, I need a tri-field meter. Okay, well, you know what?
Yeah.
Something that's really interesting is the SLS. And that's interesting. It's always been interesting. You know, it's the Xbox Connect camera, and you see the stick figures. I've noticed that soon as I received an Xbox Connect camera, I noticed there was somebody in my house. It came up because it'll detect you, and anybody says new player, it'll come up new player. And I was by myself, and apparently we had a new player in the house.
I love the Tesla videos.
Tried the Estes method.
Is that when you do the blindfold and headphones, and then
Yes.
yeah, I've done that. That works really, really well.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
It is absolutely incredible with what comes to you. I did it in the middle of the forest this year when we were doing some filming, and I would love to talk to you guys about that portion, because that was a screwed up 2 days. And I've been to
Don't
that
throw me. It's a good time. Let's go.
I've been put it this way. I've been to that area probably 35, 40 times. I will never, ever go there at night again. I will be no. The crap that was happening in there was incredible. But I did the Estes method there, and I'll tip you off to this part. And I never got a single voice. But I kept on my left side, I kept getting this bright white orb that was actually making me squint underneath the blindfold. It was so bright. And in the meantime, above us, they were filming a UFO sitting right above us while I was talking about this orb. And this UFO, this orb started coming down, and it shape shifted from an orb to a ring, and then the ring dissipated and disappeared. We got that on film.
Wow. Let me tell you something. When you put yourself in a situation where you can actually focus. We'll just call it focusing, because that's what the Estes method is. And you're using your consciousness to connect.
Yeah.
The things that you get are off the chart. And it could be physical sensations, could be chills. But a lot of times it's your eyes are basically closed because you have the blindfold on, and you start seeing things. Well, that's how I remote view, but you start seeing things coming at you and moving. It's fantastic. And then if you want to, I do a step further. I have a long enough cord where I'm holding, I have the piece on and the headphones on, and I have the SB7 box going in my headphones while with the blindfold. And then I have that goes into a recorder, and then I have another person that I have a split, so that there's a long line, a microphone, and I have them asking questions or I won't even use the microphone. They'll be like 20 feet away from me, asking questions and making a note on their machines, and see if I get an answer.
Right.
It's red, like, that's a really cool, interesting experiment right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that weekend, those 2 nights. We had everything going on, and we were investigating a place. So if you were to drive about 25 miles southwest of where I live, is Canada's largest unsolved mass murder,
Oh,
which is a 1965 plane crash where a bomb blew up the plane in the sky, and you're literally walking on the bodies that were there.
right.
Okay, the bodies were all found, thank goodness, but 52 people died there that day, and the recovery took even longer because there were no roads out there yet. So they had to literally, in order to get to the people and to put out the forest fire that was caused, they actually had to create paths to get out there. And there's one path in and one path out. And I will tell you, that area has a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff
It,
from the sky to the ground.
Dave, I was kind of like follow up to the story you just gave. I- w- where the 52 people died
Yes.
suddenly. Um, the guy walking up the stairs. You already covered. It, it I think a lot of these like paranormal discussions kind of just go back to ancient history where uh the living just want to know, like, where do you go after you die? Does what you're doing seem like you're just participating in wanting to know more about the afterlife? What are you getting out of this? Is it a faith building experience?
Good question. I have always been a creationist, even though I'm not religious. It just makes sense to me. I have the ultimate fear of dying. I hate the fact that I've turned 50 and am now on the road heading south rather than the road heading north. You know, I think that for me, it's learning to understand the phenomenon and understanding that the phenomena is very much in control of everything, whether you like it or not. And I think when we start to realize that the phenomenon is everything, it's damn near godly, if not godly, then we will come to realize that there's a lot more mysteries out there than what we believe and what we think. That's for sure. So it's for me, Mark, it's understanding what the phenomena is
Hmm.
and how to respect it. And if you can't respect it, understand that, you know, this isn't just about the paranormal. Okay. Everything is connected. The ghosts are connected to Bigfoot, who's connected to aliens, who's connected to consciousness, who's connected to near death experiences. Okay. It's all interconnected. There's an invisible line that has been sewn into all of these. And yes, a lot of people will prefer not, I don't want to play with aliens. I'm just going to concentrate on the paranormal. That's great. Do that. That's your niche. But if you expand, you learn to realize that everything is interconnected. And I think
Yeah.
it plays a role in what I would consider God a lot more than what I thought.
That's one of the best ways to wrap it up. I can't really think of a much better way to do that. I said I want to give you a plug here too.
Can I ask him one question before he goes?
That was a good place to wrap it up, sir.
Yeah, well,
Just go ahead.
I'm sharing something right now. I want to know about this image. I found this on the internet, and I want to know about Dave's image right here. When did this happen, Dave?
Oh God, that is awesome.
I'll send you a copy of it.
God, you have to.
Yes, I
Love
will.
that. I wish I knew how to Photoshop like that, man.
Yeah, well, I made you capping. So there you go, Cappy.
Got my profile picture.
Well, you know what? While you were talking and when we were talking here, I found a good shot, and I'm like, I'm gonna make Dave a hockey card. Just ask him about his hockey days.
I
It
appreciate
was the hair, man. It was the hair, and you got the greatest photo for that too. So you want to bring it?
Right. Yeah,
There it
want to show
is.
this too.
Back in the thinner days there.
This is before this is what happens pre and after you go out in the woods.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like I've got a picture of myself too, massive beard and stuff while I'm out in the woods. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, just everybody, you can go to spacedoutradio.com. You can check out
If I could give one shameless plug before we go.
No, absolutely.
If you scroll down just a little bit there, right there, scroll up. Sorry, right there. Every year, we last couple of years we've been doing a Spaced Out Radio fan party.
Yes.
This year we are holding it in Reno, Nevada, at the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort. We don't do a conference. We do a gathering for a weekend party of woo. We do a live radio show. We have VIP bags for people who are purchasing VIP tickets. Which is $100 for the weekend. Okay. And one thing that we make sure of during this weekend is that we bring in all sorts of guests who have been on our show before. Okay. Brian was going to come last year, but he decided to have a heart attack a couple weeks beforehand.
Yeah, you know,
an excuse. He just didn't want to come. I mean, that's what he was trying. He was trying to, he wasn't sure how to break it to you. So it just stressed him out so much. He gave himself a Widowmaker event.
Exactly. And
that's what I was doing, Dave. Yep.
What we do is we bring in a bunch of people who have been on our show over the year, and we have a weekend party. So let's say, Craig, you come in and you say, wow, there's Jim Goodall, legendary aviation historian. I want to, hey, Jim, do you mind if we go for dinner tonight? Jim's like, yeah, let's go. They're there to hang out with all of our fans.
Yep.
I'm not paying any of them. I'm taking a major loss myself every year on this. Okay. I really don't care because I want our audience to be able to connect, shake hands, get photos with all of our special guests who they've seen on Spaced Out Radio throughout the years. Okay. And it's become really successful. And I invite you, Craig and Mark and Brian and anybody from your audience, except Eric Galloway, because, he'll just show up and then turn around and drive home, because he's just trouble that way. But, I invite all of you guys to check it on out. Reno's pretty cheap. The dates are May 10th through 12th, 2024. And you can get your tickets at info@spacedoutradio.com. So basically the Friday night, we have the live radio show, which you get to sit into. We have the VIP party that night. We have the next day, Merle is taking everybody on a ghost tour. That night, Melinda Leslie is taking everybody on a Skywatch who wants to go. And if you don't want to go, like I never go, I hang out at the hotel just in case anybody needs anything. And anybody wants to party with me and everybody else, you just come party. That's what it's all about.
Just go meet around the one-armed bandits.
But here's the thing, and Brian, if any of you have been to a conference, and Brian, I know you've done many at conferences.
Yep.
There's times where you see somebody who maybe you bought 2 or 3 of their books, and all you want to do is shake their hand and get a photo, maybe an autograph on a book, and all of a sudden, boom, they're gone, and you don't see them the rest of the weekend. And here you are, you paid $250, $300 for that ticket, and you're not even guaranteed to talk to the person that you really want to talk to, or who you see in lecture. We're not lecturing.
No,
You come in, like say Brian comes in, he's going to spend maybe 5-10 minutes on the radio show, and then he's going to start up his 28,000 podcasts that he has going. Okay. And then it's off for beer. So that's just kind of the way we do it. And I will be auctioning off to one of our listeners to shave my beard that weekend.
Nice. Well, hopefully you see. I'm trying to get out this time. Looking to get the plan set up, and but it'd be nice if we all went out there and maybe got abducted.
Don't do a paranormal Santa. Keep the beard.
No, I'm autograph. I'm going to autograph each strand. No, I am auctioning off the beard, and whoever wins that auction, we will find a local area there to donate that money to charity.
Yeah, either that or he'll sell little packages of Yeti fur.
Well, I'm almost scared to know what the actual definition of that term is, but because I feel it's dirty. I'm just going to put it up there. It just sounds dirty, and I'm just going to assume that it's a position.
Since you're in Reno, it's not too far to Vegas, where maybe your beard could end up on Pawn Stars.
Could be.
Could very well.
Or betting for an alien. You never
I found this weird thing. It was a UFO sighting, and all I have is this whitish gray. I think it's like a fur or hair from the alien. I'm not sure what it's from. And it's just in this nest.
Mm-hmm. The feeling. Gentlemen, thank you for having me on.
I appreciate for everybody. Like I said, tonight and here in 2 hours, Spaced Out Radio goes live.
Yeah.
Who's a guest
Merry
tonight?
Christmas. I'm not a happy holidays guy. I'm a
Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates.
Yes,
Happy
Merry
Three
Christmas.
Kings if you
Merry
celebrate.
Christmas to you.
We'll see everyone next week. Merry Christmas.
Dave, really appreciate you coming on, man. I said it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Brian, I want to say a big shout out to you here for joining Rob G once a weekend for being our UFO report guy for the weekends and getting into some strange stories. I know you're going to try and put a podcast together for that as well. So, but people, I just want to say something about Brian Bowden. He's a nasty individual. He's horrible. He's got false teeth. No, seriously, I've never met Brian Bowden face to face, but there are very few people in this world that I would consider like a brother and family, and that is Brian to me. And Brian, you're a great guy, and thank you for introducing me to Craig. I already knew Mark, but Mark's one chin hair there, it's sure making out for a great beard.
Well, if he's lucky,
he grows it long enough that he can do a weird comb over style that just kind of make it.
Yeah, Santa will give him something special this year.
Well, Mark, if you just pull together, like I said, we can see if you could win the auction, and then we can just, you can have the artificial.
And we just paste it on you. We can just paste it on you.
Mark, actually, hold on.
Got to get him a beard thing.
If you want, Mark, I do have extra beards in the studio here.
Yes.
Okay, so am I gonna have to fly to BC to pick them up?
No, actually, I can ship this beard to you. I got a couple of mine here. I got a couple of listeners who've sent me their beards. This one here is hold on, where is it?
So
this one is Science Bob's. So if you want to be real smart, you can get a Science Bob beard. If you want to be a biker guy, this is my buddy Bruce. who sent me his.
I'm just not sure quite how I feel about somebody shaving their beard off and then shipping it out to somebody. This just seems weird.
I think it's hilarious.
Craig, when we have beardoism,
Yeah, why? I mean, it's just
on giving. Like a whole.
Well, I mean, is that when you become an apostate from beardoism? You shave off your beard and you ship it to somebody, and that's how you become excommunicado? I don't know how this works.
And Brian, because I do know that you are developing a little bit of a 5 head there. If you want, I do have my former locks that you like so much for that picture.
That's great pick. Good locks.
You're like 2 steps away from the toenail jar. This is just getting.
Yeah, Dave, thanks for helping me to feel like I fit in.
Hey, I care, Mark. I care.
Yeah, we do. I've always told us, like, if you get the hair long enough, then you could just do, that's the other thing too. You can just kind of wrap it around, just figure out a way to kind of just do a tie.
You get one of them beard nets that butchers have to wear or chefs have to wear. You stuff a little bit of that in there, Mark. You're gonna feel real good after that.
Yep.
Okay, you're giving me some ideas now.
Harumph, give that man a harumph. Harumph.
But you definitely
give that man a
being on, Davey.
I appreciate
well, everybody, like I said, that East Coasters, it's going to be a little difficult. Like I said, you've got to be a late night person.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the midnight is rough. I say one of these times I'll have to return the favor, but I'm going to have some planning to where I can do it on vacation and I can drink, have a couple of Monster energy drinks with me to survive the midnight to 3 time.
Dave, who's your guest tonight?
Tonight we got my main buddy Merle for Ghosts of the Great White North. We're going to be sharing Christmas paranormal horror stories. Cool. So it'll be fun. Awesome. And our main bread and butter is UFOs and cryptids, and that's my big interest. And it's funny, the ratings sure show that if I do an interesting topic, say on true crime or something along those lines, I watch my ratings go from here down to here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But we're going to continue. I'm probably in the new year going to be doing a lot more with experiencers again, and go from there. But yeah, it's going to see how it plays out going into year 10 here of Spaced Out Radio.
Just got to chase that white rabbit and get your own version of Mel's Hole and just get that one. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Trying.
I know.
Gentlemen, thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, sir. Appreciate it. Go get something to eat. Get all rested up and slam those energy drinks and get ready for the late night experience.
Thanks, everybody. Former captain. No.
Yeah. And be careful of El Ovni Volador. He's just an evil son of a bitch that seems to come around every now and again.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody, like I said, what we talked about at the beginning, watch out for those Easter eggs that he drops in the shows.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be like that cicada thing where you're actually going to have some MIT student that's going to actually crack it and you're going to realize it's part of something that you didn't, you're like, wow, you really overthought this.
Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you. Take care.
You're welcome, sir. Well, see you later. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas, guys, and to your audience. Much love.
Thanks. All right, everybody. Well, Mark, thank you for being on the show, man. Appreciate it.
That was a nice opportunity to touch base with Dave again.
Dave's a great guy. Solid.
Oh, yeah, he really is. Yeah, and he has Spaced Out Radio's top show.
Yeah, for those for those who haven't listened to it too, it's like especially on the West Coast, it starts at 9 o'clock. Well, it's 9 to midnight.
I've been a guest numerous times on the show, and it's like by the time you get to 2 o'clock, you're fighting to get to 12. 12 to 1 is easy. 2 is great. And then, when he used to go the full 3, now he cuts back. He does little segments here and there, which is good. But he's like, hey, can you stay till 3? I'm like, yeah. And then you get to 3 and then you're up all freaking morning.
You go to the commercial break and you got to put some tone in your ear to wake you up. You're all, oh.
That's the problem, because you come off and you do a really good show and you're like, wow, that was a great show. You know, and you're seeing some of the comments and you're like, oh, that's a great show. And then the next thing you know, I can't sleep. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's just it. It's like you realize, moving East Coast, that's when you see that whole difference. It's like, it's so much easier to listen to shows when it was 9 to 12, because you could listen to it for a couple hours. Now it's like, I'm not staying up to 12 to hear that. Dun, 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 dun. I can't. I'm like, it can't happen. It's not going to happen.
What you can do is you can start and you can go on the weekend shows, because I know some of them start earlier, because a lot of people are on the East Coast. There are people that do shows on, what's Jessica Jones, is doing it. And,
she's on Spaced Out Radio. She's one of the.
She can't, that's when you have kids, that's like virtually impossible. That's the problem,
Yeah, we're too reckless to be ever on a terrestrial thing.
I mean, if you
we're like Howard Stern light here, people.
No. I mean, I'd love to do. We need XM. That's what we need. XM.
You don't believe me? Wait till I show you that clip that Brian made.
I can play it for you right now if you'd like.
Yeah. So, no, we got to wrap this up. We're at 2 hours. Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Well, everybody, thanks again. Emma, thank you for the stars. Everybody, really appreciate the thing. Like I said, go follow, go subscribe and stuff to Spaced Out Radio. Show them some support. Stuff like two's way of thanking him for coming on. Beer too. It's like I said, it's definitely if you can't stay up late, you can always watch these things on replay and watch these things too to listen into the shows, and that's kind of what it is. I don't
channel.
Yeah, I don't think because it's not like Coast to Coast where they've got a subscription service where unless you pay, you get.
And it's great.
So
the YouTube archives are great for him, and you know what I mean. If you can listen to it while you're driving, it's like reading it just works out great. And he has a great audience too, just like we do. So we just need 10,000 more people. So
yes, it is. It's an answer shirt. I'm Team Meatball.
It's the gift of giving, and share this show with everybody.
I'm Team Meatball. I'm not. My wife's Team Worm. I don't like that the worm logo. I like the meatball logo.
Okay, I'm thinking something totally different.
I know where your mind's going. Dirty man.
Dirty.
So it's one of those things. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Like I said, appreciate it. Everybody have a great Christmas. I said, Merry Christmas to all. Like I said, and we will see you on the next one. Like I said, I'm going to do a space outro here, since that's what we did. So everybody have a Merry Christmas, and we will see you on the next one. We've got a really cool. We got movie industry and show industry. Yes.
Porn?
That one.
Porn?
What was that? No. More along the lines of like Bigfoot and stuff like that.
Oh.
Big difference.
Bigfoot
yes,
porn?
just a little bit. Unless
there is Bigfoot porn, by the way.
I know. I was waiting for that response. Bigfoot porn? Yeah, no. So Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Good night.
Merry Christmas.
Good night.